Welcome to episode 2 of our previously, or so far, unnamed movie review series. This film, Madam Satan, was suggested to us by one of the very first comments we received. That's not an open invitation to start leaving a bunch of suggestions just yet, because we have some things to say about this movie. I'm again joined by my friend Oliver. So, today, our review is for the 1930 film by Cecil DeMille of Madame Satan. Oliver?
Okay, so we both had a bit of a slow time really getting into this movie.
Slow is being generous.
Slow is being generous. It took me a week before I could get back to you on this. But at what exact moment do you think did you start okay, this is kind of cool. I can get into this?
It had to be when we got to Jimmy's apartment and we got to see Trixie and all the comedy in that moment. Because those first 25 minutes in Bob's apartment were so painfully slow. And the first musical number of this movie is in that moment, and it hits you like a ton of bricks.
Yeah, so this movie, on Wikipedia, is counted as a musical, and I think there's maybe 4 musical sequences. Musical is really loose. It's just characters choosing to sing at some point.
And you think I'm exaggerating with how abrupt it is. I'm not. At the 15-minute mark, the maid just out of nowhere starts singing about capturing love or whatever.
Different time, I guess. But, so yeah, the first 25 minutes in Bob's apartment is a bit of a drag. What's kind of funny is I truly thought I missed something. Because I thought they had to be talking about something that I missed, and I had watched it a bunch of times. I was no, I understand everything. It's just they're not talking about anything. Not dogging on this movie too much. After they get to Jimmy's apartment and we meet Bob's mistress and whatnot, it's actually a really fun movie after that, I think.
Yeah. And I think if you have enough critical thinking skills and are good at picking up on cues, you could honestly cut out the first 25 minutes of this film and it wouldn't negatively impact the movie. Because this film feels like 5 scenes that got stretched into 2 hours.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's this is really a 2-act movie, in my opinion, where it's, Bob's apartment and Jimmy's apartment. Everything on the Zeppelin. Yeah. And those are really the only scenes or settings in the entire movie, and everything's played out in there, and it's there's not really a good way to cut them together, so there's really are just 3 massive scenes, which is kind of interesting to me. I personally preferred the Jimmy's apartment sequence more than the Zeppelin. Did you have a preference?
I thought the Zeppelin was a lot more creative.
Well, I thought the costume-wise, but I really liked just the character action and whatnot. I thought that was really fun. Going in and out of the apartments, climbing through the windows and crap. That was really fun to me. I thought the only thing story-wise that I had against the Zeppelin sequence was just, I guess the amount of new information and things the characters are doing was spread out a lot less. So that's my only interpretation. But I do think we get the storm sequence and whatnot, and that's really fun.
Yeah. So this movie is a lot easier to describe plot wise than Nothing Lasts Forever was, because like I said, 5 scenes, 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
The basic plot is Angela finds out her husband Bob is cheating on her with a woman named Trixie, but for some reason she at first finds this more amusing than heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's just a case of the times that this movie was made in, or if it's a rich person thing. Because if I found out my girlfriend was cheating on me, my response wouldn't be, oh, how cute.
Quaint.
And they do play some comedy from that. In the Jimmy apartment sequence, she pulls out a tiny pistol at one point.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was the exact point that I was okay, this is a fun movie. she's just low-key threatening them the whole time. I like that it's not a Chekhov's gun, too. It's not, like, they never bring it up again that she's armed.
I love her casual response when Trixie asks, either Jimmy or Trixie asks her, well, what if you're mistaken? She goes, well, that'd be such a terrible shame.
Well, yeah, right before that, she's like, well, do you know who it is? And she just stares daggers into Trixie and is like, I got an idea.
So Angela finds out Bob is cheating on her and basically forces her way into Jimmy's apartment, who is Bob's like best friend or business associate, which is something. The two are always together. I don't know what exactly their relationship is.
Yeah, the real funny scene is like towards the beginning, they're going home drunk and they like sleep right beside one another.
And there's no indication of Bob going, Jimmy, you're too drunk. You need to stay here and sober up.
No, this is something they choose to do.
Yes. So
they look forward to doing this.
So Jimmy and Bob come to Bob's apartment drunk.
They
sleep it off.
Have an excuse to do that.
Unrequited love.
You couldn't get that out in the 1930s, so they did the best they could.
Well, there were a couple openly gay and bisexual actors. Like the guy who made Frankenstein was openly gay.
Oh, was he?
Yes.
Huh.
Although I think his career got derailed because of it.
Okay, so maybe should have kept that on the low.
Yeah. So we go from Angela finding out that Bob's cheating on her, a scene where both Bob and Angela say they're going to leave the apartment, but then neither really do.
Mm-hmm.
Jump to Jimmy's apartment where she confronts Trixie, and Jimmy ends up having to hide Angela under some blankets, convincing Bob that the hidden Angela is his girlfriend.
Are you confused?
But this one's pretty straightforward. Much more than Nothing Lasts Forever, despite this film being advertised as far more surreal.
Yeah, this is called a surreal movie, and there really is no like. There's the only surreal sequence I could come up with that they would be talking about was like the Zeppelin scene, like towards the very beginning. Otherwise, like it's very straightforward.
Yeah, specifically the electric dance sequence.
We're gonna get into that.
Oh yes. So Angela decides that she's going to show Bob up and give him what he thinks he wants in a woman until he gets sick of it, by disguising herself as the titular Madame Satan for a costume party on Jimmy's Zeppelin. I think Jimmy works in the oil industry. There's like one line that says it's an advert for an oil industry.
Yeah, I was really like surprised when I found like, oh, he's like hosting the event. What? But like now that we're at the party sequence, we got to talk about like the costumes.
Oh yes.
This is like the best part about the movie, in my opinion, is the costume design for all like the party goers is absolutely incredible.
Particularly the women. A lot of the men seem to have just sort of peasant and medieval generic costumes, but there was so much creativity in the women's costumes.
Mm-hmm. My personal favorite was like the Hindu goddess with like the 6 arms and whatnot. I thought that was very fun.
Yeah.
Did you have like a favorite for the costumes?
I mean, it's an easy joke, so I probably shouldn't have liked it so much, but I really liked the joke of Henry VIII bringing in 6 women.
Yeah. No, that's fun. I thought it was really, during the storm sequence, what I really thought was funny was, what was it? They're all like in a corner, like huddled up to each other, like, just like the gravity like forced them all in the corner. They can't get up. They're like screaming, "Somebody help me!"
I have a horrifying feeling that the microphone isn't on. I need to check.